is part 2 of the video. We will continue moving forward. So we've been talking about the Brahman and what that whole concept means, the ultimate reality, the the concept of the universe and being in harmony with the universe. The Brahmin priests were expected to memorize every syllable and tone of the Vedas, so these rituals would please the gods. Now, when we look at Hinduism, I'm going to explain the Bhagavad Gita, which is also a book that is very similar to the Vedas. So we're gonna talk about that, and I'm gonna hit it real quick, and so we can keep moving. So I talked about self-denial and self-discipline. This next religion, Jainism, which came about around 520 BCE. This religion believed that every living creature, even inanimate objects, had a soul. These people were strict vegetarians, and they would sometimes go as far as denying themselves to starvation as a ritual for pleasing the gods. I mentioned to you who the founder, or the person who was responsible for bringing this school of thought into existence. Mahavira is his name, and that's what I want you to refer to him as. And like many other holy men, he left wandering, and for 12 years, at the age of 32, he became enlightened. Okay? The enlightened one. Or he reached that state of complete consciousness. So you have Jainism, you have Buddhism, again, Brahmanism, the unchanging ultimate reality. Brahman was contrasted to the multitude of fleeting phenomena that people consider important in their daily lives. The individual soul or self was ultimately the same substance as the Brahman. So this is the interesting point that is saying that, hey, that you are in tune with the Creator and that a part of the Creator is in you. That's good. You can look at that and subscribe to that and see God Himself. That's an excellent point. Jainism. Buddhism, again. Buddhism, Jainism, Brahmanism, Hinduism all subscribe to samsara and karma. And I talked about this in class today, how Buddhism was antithetically opposed to the caste system, meaning that anyone could become enlightened or become a Buddha. There are 28 Buddhas over a period of time that have been recorded for their works. We have an assignment that is posted on Moodle that talks about the Buddha walking on water. I have said many times that these are allegories, story within a story, and perhaps are not to be taken quite literally, but they are symbolic. They have a deeper meaning. Water, air, fire, elements of the universe have symbolic meaning that are displayed or told allegorically or metaphorically. So we know about the Buddha. We know about Gautama, the enlightened one. He wandered for 45 years. He meditated under the bobo tree. He became enlightened, etc., etc. We know about that. We know about the Eightfold Paths and the Four Noble Truths. We know about Dharma, which means moral law. And now to get to the Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is a term that means song or praise. And Bhagavad Gita means song of God. Okay, so these were praises and hymns, and the Gita offered guidance on the most serious problem facing the Hindu: how to live in a world and yet honor Dharma and be released from the wheel of life, to be released from this continuous cycle of reincarnation. That's important. That's something that you definitely need to know about. Again, Buddhism, no caste system. Hinduism strictly adheres to the caste system, and that was an excellent way to have people exploited over time. As I've said, the Europeans, the British colonized India. We know about Mahatma Gandhi. The British colonized India for years and subjugated them through their own belief system. They are masters at repackaging one's belief system and turning it around. So now you are part of a caste system that says you need to remain faithful and compliant to your caste, to your position in life, which does not directly challenge authority. This is why most of these things have been put in place. The Bhagavad Gita, okay? The Bhagavad Gita. The Greeks were intrigued by the Indian culture that they encountered, and there's some stories or some historical references of Alexander the Great and his conquest and what he did. So he's a known figure that came in uh, during this time period. And the Greeks were very fascinated with their cultures. They were also fascinated with the Indian cities and the fine linens and clothes that were made, silks and stuff, and spices that came from India. Very important. I also want to mention to you in closing the Code of Manu. And what was the Code of Manu, Professor? Manu is the equivalent to what in westernized thought or in Christianity of Adam, the term Adam. In the Bhagavad Gita, Manu is considered to be the first man created. Now it is said that Hinduism is one of, if not one of the oldest recorded documented religions, thousands of years before Christianity. I'm giving you the dates. I'm telling you 1500 BCE and et cetera, et cetera. So the Code of Manu is considered to be the first man made. And oddly enough, with Manu, it is believed that Manu broke down and created a code again that subscribes or justifies the caste system. Very interesting that we have this reinforcement of the Code of Manu. You need to be familiar with that and know what that is, the Code of Manu. According to Google, it says that the laws of Manu said that the creation of Manu, the first man ever created by, according to Hindu tradition, that the purpose of having a caste system in the law of Manu was to have clear classes for distinct roles in members of society. So that's the Code of Manu. I want you to grasp that Manu is the equivalent to what we would, for those that subscribe to that mindset, Adam. That's very important to get that and grasp that whole concept. So in closing, again, let me address this before I let you go. I did some changes on Moodle with those assignments. I know you've been having issues accessing them, but I've created tabs. If you can't access the assignment via the tabs, go directly to the ebook, Johnson's ebook from Moodle, and just go to the assignment that way and turn it in at the designated tab. If you can't access it from the tab that's on Moodle. This is what I want you to do. So please go and study, put your stuff together, and remember, always investigate the information you receive. If it is indeed the truth, it should stand the test of investigation. Peace, the red, black, and green.